Today we get to meet Extension Master Gardener Paul Norton from Hancock County. He is also a Park and Recreation employee of the City of Greenfield, Indiana. Paul credits his information that he's learned in Master Gardeners in all that he does to make the City of Greenfield beautiful. Let's visit him and see all the flowers that he helps to take care of in Greenfield.
Okay, well this is the main entrance to the courthouse on the east side, and to take care of these flowers the way I think they should be, I try to get them done before the court opens at 8 o'clock. So I try to get here by about 7:20, and I give them a good amount of water and fertilizer. And I like to make sure when I water them, I keep that look like that. So I reach down here and I water from this way, water from the top. Believe it or not, they love the people that come in love this. I was going to cut it down a little bit, and they said, no. This is the county prosecutor's office, and I'll tell you something. It's looked horrible before. The plants were way outdated. There was no flowers, and we wanted to bring this up along with the annex over here and these buildings over here. So the Greenfield and Bloom group got together, and we worked with the street department, and we came up with this new design for the prosecutor's building. And I'm going to tell you what, these employees in here, they love it. They always are complimentary about how nice it looks. They're brand new. We just installed those this spring, and they've never had flower boxes before. They got them now. And these little concrete pots are only supposed to have about 6 flowers each. I put 18 in each. Wanted them to literally overflow out of those pots. If there's nothing wrong with overcrowding as long as you water properly and fertilize right.
And you probably have to water daily?
Every day.
And how often do you fertilize?
Once a week.
Okay, and what do you like to use?
I use Fertilone, water-soluble fertilizer. I mix it in with the water. It's a very small crystal, like blue crystals.
Okay.
And it dissolves in there, and they got fertilized today, in fact.
Nice.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 different varieties of flowers.
So pretty.
Growing in between everything. These
better.
People really enjoy going into work and leaving work because of how nice it looks now. We worked with the street department with Tim Boyk. He did the blueprint for it, and I did the flower part, and then he did the perennial part.
Nice. Well, the perennials are really pretty too.
But we had a lot of fun working with the street department on this project.
That's awesome. Thanks, Paul.
You bet. I grew up as a small child. For my 6th birthday, Mom asked me what I wanted, and I said I'd like to have a little greenhouse. So she buys me this little greenhouse, and I grew zinnias and marigolds and things like that. And I knew when I was through my military career, someday I'd be going back to dealing with flowers, and so this is what I wanted to do. But I needed the training from the Master Gardener program to really equip me. I really felt that they would do a good job of equipping me to do this job right. And so now I'm able to take what I've learned and practice it every day.
Nice.
And I can earn a little bit of income doing it too.
Yeah. When did you start this job?
I'm in my 5th year now. So.
And when did you start becoming a Master Gardener? Around the same time?
Yeah, I went through the program, I think 5 or 6 years ago. It was
Okay.
Joe Whitfield that told me about it.
I'm so glad that you're in Master Gardeners.
I love it. This looked really bad. They had some trees that were constant work, and there's a lot of maintenance to take care of the courthouse annex. So we decided we want to go as maintenance free as we could. And there's very little work to do here. This is literally maybe twice a year we spend about an hour working on this, but it's virtually maintenance free. And the size of these goes really good with the height of the building and all that. And we have the smaller ones on the end, and we have the larger ones up front, so it's going to have that nice cascading look there. Well, those are hydrangeas. People come in here, they're upset, they're making their payments for utilities and all that, and I wanted them to come in and see something pretty and make them happy. So I put together a lot of color here. I took advantage of the dwarf sweet potatoes, the smaller variety. There's different varieties of dwarf sweet potato, but I didn't want to put it all the way around, so I got the smaller variety so that it wouldn't overpower or overtake the flowers on top. Yeah, and I wanted pinks and reds, and something that's real pleasant and easy on the eye for people when they're coming in and do their business with the courthouse annex. They get watered every day, and one of the things that I do is as I'm on my way to work every day, I use a moisture meter, and I stop and I do a random check. I check at least 2 hanging baskets and 2 pots, and they have to have a certain amount of moisture. The other thing too is I have to look at the canopy, the cloud cover. If there's no canopy and if the temperature is going to exceed 83 degrees, and we haven't had water in over 24 hours. Everything gets a good solid soaking, a very good drenching. So there's some science to it, how much water. Today they got a very small amount of water, but they got fertilizer. Tomorrow they're going to get drenched if we have the hot temperatures, which we're supposed to. Right, so it's not always water. It's a little bit of water, sometimes it's a lot of water, a little bit of fertilizer, but it's all dependent upon those 4 factors that I mentioned. The right amount of water keeps these looking vibrant. If you don't give them the right amount of water and fertilizer, they go flat very quick. I want to keep them like that through the end of September if I can. And it's not very easy this time of year either. More purplish, a little more pinkish. My main inspiration for all the flowers and the color here is, I know a designer from Dorothy Drake, and he likes to bring the outside inside. I like to bring the outside and leave it outside. And I believe in lots and lots of color. I believe people are experiencing a lot of crises, especially this time, this pandemic that we're going through. And so I wanted to have a lot of splash of color and happy color. And so I went and I traveled to South Haven, Michigan, and Mackinac City, Mackinac Island, a suburb of Gary, Peoria, Illinois, Nashville, Indiana, different places that have lots of flowers. And I noticed one thing in common, there was a lot of tourism. So I spoke with the leaders of these cities, and they all told me that the number one thing that changed all that was the addition of lots of flowers. And so that made it more happy for me to know that I had my Master Gardener training. I was able to do something with it to benefit a lot of people, not just at my own front yard. But I wanted people to drive through the town, the national highway, to want to stop and eat at a restaurant or shop somewhere. And I hear those little comments as I'm watering and taking care of the plants. People saying how beautiful it looks here. So that I consider that my paycheck. The Hancock County Tourism magazine took a photo that I took there, and it was on a very beautiful blue day. But they put that on the front cover of their magazine. That's Dichondra Silver Falls.
It's so pretty.
Dichondra Silver Falls. And I was inspired by some plants that I saw down in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, and I thought if we could do this in Indiana, it'd be great.
And it really works well, doesn't it?
It does. And you know, a lot of people gauge the winds just by looking here. A lot of the workers inside will look at there, if they see they're blowing like crazy, they'll go out and roll the windows up.
Oh, because the rain's coming, huh? I'm going to look at it closer with the video. I just appreciate you sharing all this with us. So pretty. I was telling you it looks like sphagnum moss, and it sounds like people think that even from a distance a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. One of the secrets to doing these, to keep them looking right, is I take my fingers.
Oh, it's like you untangle the hair almost.
I just kind of untangle the hair like somebody like.
Oh, so it'll really move in the wind better.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't do this, like this one hasn't been done in a while. See how it's kind of knotted
It'll kind
up?
of start, yeah.
It'll kind of knot up.
It'll start braiding itself.
And so about every other day, I'll just come over and I'll just kind of play with it like I'm playing with my wife's hair.
That's so nice. That's cool, Paul. Thank you so much. Now, is it harder to keep these watered since they're the coconut baskets, or what are those baskets?
Yeah, they're cocoa baskets. Mm-hmm. They've got a plastic liner, and yes, it is kind of hard. You have to be real careful not to overwater. There's a fine line between underwatering and overwatering these, because last year, for example, this basket here, I didn't realize it, but I was overwatering and everything was dying. I had to completely replace the plants in it, because I went up there on the ladder and I looked, and it was all water soaked. And so you just give these enough water that with the evaporation, they're going to be dry by the time you water again.
Okay.
The worst thing you can do is water. They go through the night.
You don't want them to stay wet. You don't want
them to stay wet.
Okay,
no.
So you want to just give them enough. You don't want to give them too much.
They just get a little drink. I call it a drink.
Got it.
They don't get doused.
Okay.
Maybe 20 seconds per plant.
Okay.
But they bloom multiple times a year, and they're the key to getting these to keep blooming is keeping them deadheaded, and you give them a little fertilizer about once a week, and you water them a couple times a week. But they also get a rose treatment about once a month, and it's specifically for roses. When I water these, I drench them. I put that water hose thing right down on the ground and let it kind of soak down in there really good, because the roots it's a very woody kind of roots, and so it takes more moisture to get up to the plant. Take a pair of very sharp clippers with the bucket, with my gloves, of course, and I just snip them off. This one here always has a lot more blooms.
It's really pretty.
And I don't take the blooms off until they get really light, really light looking like this. This is about ready to be cut off. And then soon after you do that, new life starts, and then the whole process starts all over again.
So
we wanted little trees, we wanted flowers that were easy to take care of. And here's the biggest thing. I've got a nice little old lady that lives down the street a little ways. She comes out here once a week and volunteers and clips a lot of these.
That is so nice.
I got with the fire chief, and the fire chief loans out his firemen that are on call that have to stay in the firehouse.
Yeah.
And they come here in their gym shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
And they deadhead and they help me keep this clean, so I don't have to take care of it. It's done by volunteers.
Oh my goodness.
We have a lot of people make the comment that, especially in the evening hours before sunset. And that was one of our plans. We wanted the flowers to complement with the ornamental grass. Fill this with impatiens flowers, but it had to start with a plan. We had to come up with a model, what we wanted to do. So we drew up and made it size specific. You know, we had all our dimensions, so we have an idea where to plant and how much to plant. We even know that we cannot exceed 16 inches from the ground to the bottom of the sun.
So they can see the sign, yeah.
So that's why we're going to go with impatiens, that and the fact that impatiens do very well in the shade.
And this is very shady right here.
So we're going to have all around here, so no matter what direction these cars are going, they're going to see lots and lots of color here.
That's going to be so nice.
So there's a place for ivy, but we want to change that. Okay? And then we're going to move the rose bushes somewhere else. We're not doing it. Specific about how you water, how you deadhead, all the things that you have to do to keep these going, because seriously, a lot of these should be doing really bad for this time of year. This variety of dwarf sweet potatoes ought to be very yellow and brown. These ought to be all dried out, looking really bad, and but we've worked real hard to keep these looking good, and they're sort of the showpiece of the city hall.
What's this right here? This
It's
interesting plant.
It's an ornamental crabapple trees.
So you have to watch out for bagworms.
Oh yeah, last year they came in droves, and we had to spray them 2 or 3 times, and we had to pluck them out. We sprayed them and plucked them out.
Yep.
We saved them. These 2 were ready to die. We got them going again.
Good, I'm glad. I like this, the way you have this planted.
Now the street department takes care of these garden beds here.
That's
Dwarf sweet potato. They do real well in full sun. The green ones don't.
so you chose them
I chose
depending
green for this side. These
the
buildings,
shaded.
It's
Yeah.
shaded, but I chose the other color for over here so we wouldn't have so much maintenance.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. So there's a different variety for even sunlight for
Right.
those dwarfs.
These don't like the hot middle of the summer sunlight, whereas the other ones thrive.
Can handle it. That's cool. Green ones flower like that?
No, just these.
Okay, that's pretty.
And each one of these planters have a sign that says "For all to enjoy."
That is so
I don't
nice.
know if you noticed, but Greenfield, Indiana, won the National American Balloon Contest 2 years in 2006 and 2009, I think it was.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, we're a
2004 and 2006.
We were the national champions for the whole country.
Wow, that is so
So
cool.
we're kind of proud of that.
No kidding.
So